Hello and welcome to Business at Citywatch. I'm your host, Michael. I thank you for joining us, and I remind you, you can join us all the time and leave a remark for us anytime you like, wherever you receive your podcasts. And we are speaking today with John Egan, the author of the Stripped Down Guide to Content Marketing. And we're going to talk about what content marketing is and how that may be beneficial to your company. John, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about content marketing. What is it, and how did you become involved in it?
Well, what it is basically a way to communicate to your audience that's not advertising, that's not public relations. So it can be anything from a blog post to a video to a Snapchat to a social media post, and it's coming from you, so it represents your brand. And then how did I get involved in content marketing? It wasn't something I went to school for. I studied journalism. So I just kind of fell into it. I got a job with a company that does personal finance content, and they wanted me to oversee their insurance content. And so that was my first experience working within a company to help tell their story and to help educate our customers.
Okay, now we're talking about content marketing versus what I've been told is branding. Are we talking about the same sort of thing here? Is this an extension of that, or is it different from that?
They're cousins. They're related, but branding is more about the logo and what your website looks like and the color scheme and all those sorts of things, which can be a part of content marketing, but content marketing is more about producing and distributing content that is from your brand, that represents your brand, and that helps your consumers, your customers, inform them, enlighten them, educate them, whatever it is you're trying to get across to them.
Now, how long have you been involved in doing this type of marketing?
13 years.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, content marketing's been around since the late 1800s. It started with John Deere, and they started producing a magazine, but for the longest time it wasn't called content marketing. It just was, it was what it was. And then a number of years ago, I think it was definitely in the 2000s somewhere, the phrase content marketing started becoming more and more popular.
I'm going to talk about a couple of other things, including why your business needs to be involved with YouTube for marketing purposes and others. And we'll do that right after this. Citywatch on the Air, heard locally and worldwide on iHeartRadio.com, takes you through the ins and outs of business, exactly what your business needs to showcase your product or service. And we can do it for as little as $10 a week. If you don't believe me, text PROVE IT to 310-291-2790. That's PROVE IT to 310-291-2790. Okay, we are back with John Egan, the author of the Stripped Down Guide to Content Marketing. We've been talking about content marketing and the slight differences between that and what's usually called branding. And this is a bit of a deeper approach to it. One of the things you mentioned in your information, John, is the need for YouTube in businesses. Now, I know that a lot of businesses now are starting to make the move seriously toward YouTube. Even businesses that are primarily voice-driven are moving toward the medium of being seen. Is that important? I mean, can you get your message across without the signature, or do you have to have both?
You don't have to have YouTube, but I would highly recommend it, especially if you're in the restaurant business or hairstyling or something that's a little bit more lifestyle driven. But any number of types of businesses can use YouTube to their benefit. A lot of people don't realize that YouTube in itself is an extremely popular search engine. So a lot of times people, instead of going directly to Google owns YouTube, they'll search for something on YouTube because they're looking for a video about that subject. So it is a very potent way for people to find your content. And even if you have, you don't have to post all the time, but, if you have a collection of videos on there that are related to your business and that speak to your audience, then it's all upside.
Okay. Now, is that a situation where a person who's getting into business should automatically think, I've got to do something that's going to get me on YouTube? Or is this something that develops as your business develops?
Well, you definitely want to have a plan to go about your content marketing. So you need to decide, does video need to be a component of our strategy? And in many cases, the answer is yes. So you definitely want to plan out what kinds of videos you're going to put out there. But I do think that it is one of the most critical ways to get across your message these days in terms of content marketing. And a lot of surveys now show that businesses rate that the highest in terms of return on investment or the value that it brings to their business.
Okay, now you mentioned having that as part of your basic plan. Now, if someone comes to you and they say, listen, I want to become involved in this, I want to get my name out there, I want to get my company's name out there, what are the first things that you tell them to do, and how do you guide them along this path?
The two most important things that I think I can tell people are that you need to figure out who your audience is. Do you really know who your audience is? So you need to identify who you need to be reaching, because you don't want to just start putting content out there that doesn't necessarily appeal to who your audience is. And we may think we know who our audience is, but you need to do a little bit of a deep dive into that. The second part is, where do these people, this audience, where do they get information? What platforms are they on? Are they heavy users of YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn? Are they more visual? And so video might appeal more to them than if you have blog posts, which is more, the words rather than the images. So, those are two very important things to get straight before you really dive into content marketing. Otherwise, you're just kind of meander along and not necessarily hit the targets that you want to in terms of reaching the audience and reaching them where they are.
Is there a percentage of people that you come across who believe their audience is one thing and then later on find out it's something else?
I don't know that there's a specific percentage that I've come across, but I do think that there are some people who don't have a 100% clear idea of who their audience is. It's a little fuzzy. And if you start doing research, you may realize, oh, we've got X percentage of people who are our customers who are, I don't know, suburban moms or something like that. So you may not have realized that because maybe they're doing mostly online business with you and you don't see them face to face. So there are all sorts of ways that you can figure out who your audience is. Part of it is just asking them, if they're buying something, maybe ask them to tell you a little bit about themselves so that you have a clearer idea of who it is that's buying your products or services and who it is you're trying to reach.
So are you a fan of online surveys or face-to-face questions posed to people and things like that?
There are a number of ways to do very inexpensive online surveys that I think can be instructive for a business that's trying to either get into content marketing or ramp up their content marketing. And then, there are focus groups or just everyday conversation that you can have with people about why'd you come in today, and if you have a store or a location, what brings you here, how did you find out about us? That's a very common question. Did you find us on Google? Did you find us in an ad? Did you hear about us from a friend or relative or coworker? So all those things can help inform your decisions about what path you head down in terms of content marketing.
Does this work equally well for both product-oriented businesses and service-oriented businesses?
Yeah, and I can give you. So I live in Austin, Texas. Two companies that are based here are very involved in content marketing, but in very different ways. Oracle, the big software company, is based here, and they primarily, I mean, yes, software is a product, but a lot of what they do is really a service. So they are heavily involved in content marketing. And then Yeti, which produces outdoor gear, coolers, those sorts of things that appeal to outdoorsy people, active people, they're very much about their products. And they also do a lot of content marketing. They've got a magazine, and they've got lots of lifestyle content that they put out there, videos, blog posts, things on their website, what have you. So, it can work for both. You don't necessarily have to say, oh, we don't have a product, so why should I be content marketing? Lawyers, accountants, all sorts of people who provide services can benefit from content marketing.
Okay. I think what I'll do is I want to go into the trends for content marketing, and I think I'll do that with John Egan right after this. Citywatch on the Air, heard locally and worldwide on iHeartRadio.com, takes you through the ins and outs of business, exactly what your business needs to showcase your product or service. And we can do it for as little as $10 a week. If you don't believe me, text PROVE IT to 310-291-2790. That's PROVE IT to 310-291-2790. Hello, you're back at Business at Citywatch. This is Michael. We are with John Egan. His book, The Stripped Down Guide to Content Marketing, is available. We've been talking about content marketing itself, whether your businesses should be on YouTube, and now we're going to talk a little bit about trends. Give me an idea as to what a trend in content marketing is so that people understand what we're talking about.
So the big one that lots of folks in content marketing are talking about right now is artificial intelligence. ChatGPT is a very prominent AI tool for content creation, and it can be used for all sorts of things. But in the realm of content marketing, it can help you come up with ideas, help you create content. So there's a lot of people wondering to what extent should you use it, and to what extent should you dial it back, because there's a lot of ethical concerns about, for instance, you don't necessarily want people to think that you yourself didn't write something, but that little did they know that it was a robot that wrote it. And then you get into all sorts of issues of, does the content sound too much like other content that's out there online? And then Google may detect that and penalize you. So there are all sorts of issues wrapped up in artificial intelligence, and we're just at the tip of the conversation about it. We're going to be dealing with this issue for the rest of our lives.
Well, John Egan of the Stripped Down Guide to Content Marketing and several other things, we thank you for being with us on the program today. And if people want to get in touch with you, how do they do that?
They can reach me at johnegan.net, and they can look for my book, The Stripped Down Guide to Content Marketing, on Amazon.com.
Thank you so much. And I remember, all you who are listening, believe in yourself. If you don't, no one else will. And we will speak to you next time.